What's going on, everyone? So I'm going to put this new series together to hopefully help a lot of people out there involving tricks of the trade. And this one, we're going to be looking at moving averages in particular. Based on what I've been looking at for the last 8 to 12 months in the current market condition, there are things you can tell based on these moving averages. And we're going to look at 3 specifically and how you can utilize them to see trends in chart patterns. So the setup for this, we're going to use the 21-day moving average. You can put the color to whatever you want. I'm just going to explain the colors I like to use. So we have the 21-day moving average, we have the 50-day moving average, and we have the 200-day moving average. I have the 21 set as yellow, the 50 set as orange, and the 200 is red. Now just to clarify a couple things real quick. So whenever the 50 MA crosses underneath the 200 MA, that's called a golden cross. Whenever the 200 MA crosses down below the 50, that is a death cross. So just to put that into perspective. So this is the setup. If you're on Webull, this is how you set up the indicators like this. You just go to your chart, and then you go to the very left-hand side. There's a button. You click that, and then it'll list some current indicators. If you don't see MA on here, you'll have to go to the indicators, little drop down here, and select it. Once you have MA selected, then you just go ahead and go to edit indicators over there on the right hand side, and then you'll be able to actually edit the different lengths and colors. So again, you just have to make sure that you have 50, 21, and 200 put in there. Anything else really extra doesn't matter. Once you make sure you have the 50, 21, and 200, then you click over to the style tab, and then that's when you can change your colors to whatever you want. And then just make sure that these 3 are checked. And then once you make sure that all the colors are how you want and you have the MAs set up, the 50, 21, and 200, then you go back to the chart and we begin to investigate. Now, here's the trick. And remember, this applies to our core logic plays. This is how a lot of the time I'm able to tell when a trend is at its downside or on its upside, respectively. So let's go ahead and take a look at some charts now. So this is alt. It's one of our core plays here. I want you to take a look at something. What do you notice about these 3 lines? The yellow and the orange is typically likes to stay around where the price is. And the 200 is, I like to think of it as your support or resistance line, depending on where the stock is. For this particular stock, if we look at it, this is on the 10-minute time frame. I want you to look and see how well this 200 holds support. So right here, this is an entire trading day here. 624, it hit the line perfectly and then rebounded up through the rest of that day. Same thing for the next day. Touched support here at the 200 and then had a nice run. What do we see here? The price doesn't like to go below the 200, and when it does, it typically corrects and goes back up. Now, that's where we're at right now on the 10-minute. So you see how we're up here at the current 21 MA, and then the 50's next, and then the 200's down there. Based on what I'm seeing here, the next downtrend or next down cycle should be around 1190, 1188, right around where this 200 MA line is. Now, this is when multiple time frames come in handy, because if we look on the 10-minute, we can clearly see the 21 is above the 50, which is above the 200. Now, if we go to the 20-minute, same thing. 21, 50, 200. Now let's go to the daily. Now the daily is a little different. We have the yellow, or the 21 up top, we have the 200 in the middle, and we have the 50 here at the bottom. So, likely being said, I think support for this stock on the daily is going to be around that 845 marker, just by looking at the moving averages alone. And these crosses here seem to be of value as well, but just looking at these 3 lines, you can tell that once the price is above or below that red line, like right here, look at that massive drop all the way back down to that red line. Overshot it a little bit, but basically held that red line even through this big jump here. So just wanted to point that out. MAs are useful, especially when looking at multiple time frames, because that red one seems to be the support line. And now on the other end of it, when it's on the upside and when it's the highest line, you're in a downtrend. Then it crosses over to the bottom, and it doesn't go back below it very much. When it does, it's in a downtrend. So now that this is flattening out, this 200 MA line, let's see what it did the last time. Last time it ran and then flattened. Let's see here. Right here. Came down big time, flattened, and then has gone back up. Even here, like went up to 441. And then it still came all the way back down and crashed through it. That's hilarious. Let's look at FDP now. FDP, look, same thing. Same exact setup as alt, right? 200, then the 21, then the 50. 21, 200, then the 50. Let's go to CG&T, a call play. Let's go to one of our call plays and see if it's the opposite. And what do you know? It is. 200, 50, 21. 21, 200, 50. Culp. 200, 50, 21. It's literally that simple. Like, so the 200 here is your resistance. And then the 200 here is your support. How about that? Yeah, I'll have more on this coming out. But just wanted to give you at least an introductory video on how to set these up so you can start looking at this stuff yourself.